Hi, I'm Paramdeep Singh, CEO of FieldAssist, and today I have a very special guest on the show, Arindam Paul. Arindam is the founding member and Chief Business Officer of Atomberg. Atomberg is India's fastest growing consumer appliances brand. It has already crossed 1,000 crore mark in revenue and aspiring to be a 5,000 crore brand. Welcome Arindam on our show today, and I'm looking forward to hear your marvelous journey of Atomberg.
Yeah, thank you Param for having me here. Pleasure to be here.
Tell me one thing, I'm very curious to know why the name Atomberg.
Atomberg comes from two different words, so atom and berg. So atom is the smallest unit of the universe, right? The word berg comes from the word iceberg. So icebergs are the largest structures in the world. So Atomberg is a journey from the smallest unit of matter and to hopefully become an iceberg at some point of time. So that's how the name Atomberg comes.
Atomberg has a very unique story. It's a very unconventional way of entering the market to a digital first brand. Usually in your space, companies go for offline and then later on discover more things. So I would like to know, was it a part of a strategy to be a digital first and then come to offline?
I'll tell you the story, right? So 2015 is when we started manufacturing fans, and the obvious thing was कि let's go to the retailers. तो retailer के पास गए पंखे लेके कि नया पंखा बनाया है. So we were very obsessed with the product. Product बना दिया तो अब अपने आप बिक जाएगा. All of us in our mid-20s, we had a product that was 2x more expensive than any of the incumbents. So we went to the retailer, वो retailer हमको भगा दिया. बोला कि तुमको कुछ नहीं पता, just go away from here. You guys are mad. So we came back, and now that big channel was out of the equation on day one. And that was 95% of the industry's sales. So I think there are two options for us. One is the B2B part. So luckily we stumbled upon this industry called the ceramic industry. And this industry were using hundreds of fans in their industries, and they were using these fans to dry the ceramic. So for 24 hours they used to run these fans. And for them electricity was a big raw material. So our earliest product market fit was in the B2B segment in the industries. Did it for about a year or so, and soon we realized कि B2B बहुत बड़ा नहीं बन सकता है. Ultimately, इंडिया में अगर पंखे बिकते हैं, लोगों के घरों में फैंस लगते हैं, स्पेशली सीलिंग फैन. The only option was to sell online, and we were actually D2C before the term D2C existed in 2016. In fact, even on marketplaces, right? Marketplaces are also not selling fans as a category. So we started selling online, just put the product online, and we thought what would happen. E-commerce democratized distribution. Sitting in Bombay, I could sell a fan to someone in Assam, to someone in Kerala, to someone in Kashmir. That's how the D2C or the e-com journey started for Atomberg.
So Atomberg had to carve out a niche for itself, and a lot of credit goes to you. Would like to understand what are the key differentiators of Atomberg with respect to other D2C brands.
In our case, there were three very strong value propositions. First, the product saves 65% in electricity. For a consumer, it means you save up to 1,500 rupees per year per fan. That is proposition number one. Proposition number two was it was a remote control fan, which was unique at that point, right? You don't see remotes in fans, and it just gets people's intrigue and you get noticed. And the third was the product looked very unique. So it was a small motor fan, the product looked very unique. So the proposition was very strong, and that gave us a very big learning also. And I keep repeating it every time that the Indian consumer is not price conscious, but they are value conscious. And our products are 2x the price of any of the bigger incumbents which have been existing for 50 years in the Indian ecosystem in our category. So despite all of this, we were able to sell because of the proposition. We also did a lot of innovative things like, say, assisted selling. Consumer wanted more information, we had a call center. Consumer wanted more information, we integrated WhatsApp in 2017. So when today it is very common integrating leads to WhatsApp and all. We did it in 2017-18. So I think these are few unique things which really helped us to scale D2C profitably, and that really that was a building block for us to move into other channels, because that really gave us the indication that we really have a very, very strong product market fit.
Okay. And today I see a lot of big brands, they follow Atomberg, in their product strategy, in their digital strategy. But let's talk about when you started. It's time to get into the offline market, and you were challenging the status quo, you're challenging the big brands, okay, big wigs. Then what was going on in your mind? Ki crack kaise karenge?
So I think before crack kaise karenge, I think the first time that we did one in 2015, we failed miserably. मतलब लोगों ने हमको भगा दिया, हम वापस आ गए. 3 साल तक हमने सिर्फ B2B and e-com किया. And we reached a scale of say around 3 crores per month before we actually ventured offline. Now, why offline? see, the realities don't change, right? 90% of the market was still offline. Now the second, how offline? So how to start, right? And here I think our e-com experience helped. So we know that these are the geographies which are giving me sales. Now let's go and meet the same retailers again. So now when we went, we saw a difference in how they treated us. Few retailers were more accepting. In a lot of the other retailers, right, it was the same story, right? तो पहली बार गया वो सुना नहीं. Second time he'll say कि कम चलो आ जाओ, दोबारा आयो चलो चाय पी लेते हैं. Third time maybe he'll start talking about me, not about the product. Someone will talk about sports, someone will talk about politics. तो fourth time when you go, right, he'll tell about कि चलो ये बंदा ना serious है. तो fourth time he'll talk about the product. He'll tell you कि ठीक है चलो ये है. You place for product and we'll see how things move and all of this. In sales, right, it's not about the final conversion. It is about what you do 90% of the times before that conversion happens. So you have seen that movie in Shawshank, right, where वो hammer से जब वो ये करता है. It's not the last hammer blow that breaks the entire wall. It is what he has been doing for years altogether. I think a lot of it applies in sales. I think at some point, like, retailers test you whether you are serious or not. I think that's their proxy of testing कि ये brand trustworthy है कि नहीं, ये बंदा trustworthy है कि नहीं.
This is amazing, Arindam. So this is what I was coming on to, that I could see a lot of rigor in your approach. Getting your hands dirty. So how do you build that culture and percolate it throughout your sales team and throughout your company?
So right from day one, we are very clear that sales team can control two things. One is availability. The second is visibility. The third thing is, right from our sales head to our founders, me, a lot of people will actually work as shop boys. So, and that's something that I do even today. So whenever I go to any market, so today I'll be going to Navi Mumbai market. Maybe I'll spend 3-4 hours in a counter. I'll try and interact with consumers. I'll try and sell the product myself to the consumer. क्योंकि अगर मैं उनको नहीं बेच पाया तो बाकी लोग कैसे बेचेंगे, तो retailer कैसे बेचेगा. So our metrics have always been input driven. Control things which are in your control. Visits are in your control. Making the product available is in your control. Making the product visible is in your control. Sell out might not be in your control. Do things what are in your control. If the product has a PMF, product will sell on its own.
Fantastic learnings here. Okay. And I know you, Arindam, that you are a very data-driven person. And e-commerce, the heart of e-commerce is data. But when you come to the offline trade, getting the intelligence from the data or the insights from the market, it's very difficult. So when did you decide to get into a digital transformation mode, and how do you see the whole sales and supply chain automation fueling your growth?
Very important, and we did it very early. In fact, the culture and the DNA of the organization is data driven, because we come from e-com first background, a data first background. So if I do not have real-time access to secondary data, if I do not have real-time access to how my sales team on their productivity, on the difficulties that they are facing, on the beats, all of this, it's very difficult to take any kind of business decisions. And that's a choice that we had made. And because of this choice, maybe a lot of distributors did not work with us. And we were fine with that choice. Saying that maybe we'll not work with the biggest of the distributors because they're not aligned with our data-driven ways of working. But that is non-negotiable to us. And that's what I tell a lot of startups today who approach, saying that you need to do it very early in your sales journey, because after a scale, the resistance keeps on increasing.
I'll shift the conversation now. Atomberg has mastered the art of funding, raising the funding, and you have actually raised a Series C of $85 million, right? So I would like to understand what role investors played in your growth journey, and how did you build that relationship?
So first of all, I think we did not master the art. I think it was very, very difficult for us till 2019. So till 2019, there were hardly any investors. I think we just raised a very small round in 2016 of around $1 million, and we built a 40-50 crore annual revenue business through that. Only once we reached a certain scale, I think funds became more accessible, and that's what I keep. I think funding is usually in businesses like ours, it's a lag indicator. Once you reach a scale, things get easier. In our case, we have been extremely lucky to have investors who truly understand our vision to build an organization that outlasts all of us and stays there for 100 years, 200 years from now. If you really want to do that, I think being omnichannel was key. forever grateful to them. I think they have been excellent partners, and it's been a wonderful journey by having investors who truly align with your vision and your journey.
That's really fortunate, and to have such partners in your great journey. I have also heard of a legendary story of yours, which is the very first batch of fans when you were about to dispatch. So the last 5 fans were assembled under a torchlight of a mobile phone by co-founders. From that to now, kind of manufacturing 20,000 fans a day, how many aha moments would have come in your life, in your personal transformation?
Let's touch that story.
Okay, sure. Go ahead.
So this was in, I think, November 2015. And we got a first order of 500 fans from a ceramic industry in Saurashtra. Now that order was very critical for the survival of the organization. And because there was no money left in the bank account, the industry told us very clearly that we need these fans before Diwali. And there were 4 days to Diwali. So we started manufacturing. We thought कि ठीक है कर लेंगे. करना शुरू किया तो पहले दिन से 50 ही बना. All of us are there for 96 hours. When there are power cuts, we were using our mobile phones and all of this. The story doesn't end there. So we ship the fans, right? Now we think that, okay, अभी तो fan बेच दिया, पैसे आ जाएंगे. 1 हफ्ता हुआ, 2 हफ्ता हुआ, पैसे नहीं आए. So we went, and the person, the owner, right? So he was sitting with us and he was telling us कि तुम लोग का इतना हिम्मत, मेरे से पैसे मांगने आ गए. And these were like goons were there. So he was showing कि देखो कल ही मुझे ये गोली लगी है. So, but after all of this, right, after sitting through with him negotiating for 7-8 hours, we came with a 8 lakh rupees check. And you know why he gave us? Because he wanted 500 more fans. तो उससे ना ये belief आया कि product इतना strong है. Even today, I think that's something that is very close to us, and we survived that. तो फिर उसके बाद चीजें थोड़ी easy लगने लगी.
It's really inspiring, and I'm having goosebumps kind of a thing on this. And I'm sure there must be many more aha moments like that. I would also like to ask, if you were given a time machine, is there anything you want to go back and change in your journey of entrepreneurship?
I don't think so, because if we would have made any catastrophic mistake, we would have been dead by now. We have taken a lot of risks, but take calculated risks and make a lot of mistakes which are reversible mistakes. So I think I would not go and change. See, all the other small mistakes we have made, I think those are very important.
So like you mentioned, mistakes are the pillars of growth. And if you're not making mistakes, then you're not pushing your boundaries. But would you like to tell some mistakes, which you really glad that you made it? Yeah.
See, in our industry, there are 3 modes of distribution. So one is a distribution model, where you have a distributor, the distributor sells to the retailer. Then you have a retail direct dealer model, where you supply directly to the retailers. And then you have a wholesaler model. So we had to choose between, say, distribution model and direct dealer model. Now, if you think logically, right, you think that the direct dealer model should have worked for us, right? So we tried the same. So we said ki maybe I don't need to be present in 500 counters in Bombay. Maybe I'll choose 30 counters. Now the problem is, if your brand is not widely distributed, then the power is with those 20-30 retailers who can dictate a lot of terms on margins and everything. So I think that was one mistake. The second mistake was launching a geography before you were ready. So, like, once we got success in, say, Mumbai, Kerala and all, we thought, let's now just go pan-India. Now, we didn't understand that the propensity to buy, say, in Orissa and in, say, Pune will be very different. And these are mistakes that has taken a lot of time for us to overcome. Because in retail, what happens is, right, retail doesn't give you a second chance very easily.
Very easily.
एक बार आपने अगर माल रख दिया और माल नहीं बिका और वो माल रिटर्न हो रहा है, उनके दिमाग में ला जाता है कि ये प्रोडक्ट बिकता नहीं है. Now that was not the case, right? ऑनलाइन बिक रहा था, सब कुछ हो रहा था. It was just a case of launching a geography before you were ready. I think again these are mistakes that we have made and learned the hard way. Yeah. But I think glad we made those mistakes, so we'll not repeat it with, say, a mixer grinder or a smart lock or any of the category that we are going to launch in the future.
Exactly. That's the advantage of creating mistakes. You don't repeat them again. So Arindam, anybody who wants to be an inspiring entrepreneur into this space, it's a highly tough competitive market. What would be your 3 nuggets of wisdom?
I don't think I am wise enough to give any nuggets of wisdom, but yes, I think 2-3 things. I think one is you need a quality product. So I think the days are gone where you could sell a substandard product in the name of brand and distribution. So I think product needs to be at the core, because I think that's a fundamental consumer behavior change that I've seen in the, and I'll tell you the reason. The reason is, पहले ना लोगों को पता नहीं चलता था ये प्रोडक्ट कैसा है. Today there are reviews. Now no brand can control what is being told about them on the internet. So I think that is number one. Number two is you need to think omni-channel. If you want to say, if you limit yourself, I will do only D2C, I will do only offline, I will do only Amazon, you are reducing your TAM and you are increasing your CAC if you want to grow keeping the TAM constraints in mind. And the third thing would be to build it for the long term. If your objective is to sell the brand after 10 years, but build it as if you want to build it, run it for the next 100 years. You will get much more value even if you want to sell it after 10 years.
No, very well said, Arindam. And thank you so much for your time for this Pathfinder series. I wish you all the best. I wish that you break that 5,000 crore ceiling, go to 10,000 crore, very soon. And really enjoyed talking to you. I learned a lot. So thank you so much.
Same here, same here. Thank you for having us, and thank you for supporting us in our journey over the last 4 years.